So being a waste of time, a cause for increased violent activities, a source of addiction, and even a cause for obesity in America. These are things that are commonly associated with video games these days. And it's really rather unfair. And with the increases in technology, gaming has become increasingly complex. The video games are a lot more complicated. There's a lot more going on, and with these complications and their increased popularity, it's caused a lot of people to do additional research to actually figure out what effects they do have on the people playing the games. And a lot of the research is actually showing it can be extremely beneficial to the gamers. And what I'd like to do today is I'd like to go through some of the common misconceptions of video gaming, and I'd also like to demonstrate that they actually have a lot more benefits. The first one I'd like to go over is the one that makes every gamer groan every time they mention it, and that's increased violent activity, especially in children. Now, I can understand the concern, when kids like to pretend, they like to get on the playground and play with other kids, and they like to pretend to be their favorite character in a movie, and as we see kids playing more games like Halo or Call of Duty, I can understand being a mother and looking over and, oh, what's my kid playing, and they're shooting other kids, they're not going to go, oh, that's, they're going to go, oh, he just got a headshot on your kid, They're going to be concerned, and I can understand that, but it's common for kids to pretend like that. But it's really hard there's very slim evidence that it causes violence or increases violent activities in the people that play. I play violent video games all the time, but I'm a pretty passive person outside. And in fact, they've actually done some research that shows people who play. I got a quote here from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. Researchers found that participants who had just played a pro-social game in which characters must work together to help each other out, as compared to those who had just played a neutral game like Tetris, they were more likely to engage in helpful behaviors, anything from picking up some trash or pencils that are on the ground to even volunteering to do more research or helping old ladies across the street, even helping people out of abusive relationships. Just playing those games showed that they were more likely to do those things. But while the concern for violence, increased violent activities in gamers is more about what are the gamers going to do to other people, there's also a concern of the impact it has on the actual gamer. I know most of you have probably seen that episode of World of Warcraft, South Park, where they do a thing on World of Warcraft and how obsessed they get with the game, and their physical appearance changes pretty drastically in a short amount of time. I'm sad I can't use a visual aid show, but no. Now this is an extreme example of some of the concern, but with the increases in technology today, you're finding more activity in video games. There's the traditional way of playing games, but you're finding a lot more motion controls. Wii Fit was extremely popular, and it's giving a lot of people a way to stay at home and work out without going to the gym. You don't have to be self-conscious about people watching you work out, or and it's proving to be a valuable source. They've also found that people with ADD, it's therapeutic for them to play games because it allows them to learn how to hyper-focus. And they actually have some auditory cues in games like Call of Duty that basically, you hyper-focus and the game's over because you get these audio cues, and it kind of helps you get out of that game mode and differentiate from one game to the next instead of just one long seeming playthrough. Gaming has also shown to increase drastically self-confidence because it instantly rewards people for overcoming challenges. I'd like to get into the misconception a little bit that gaming is addictive. It can certainly be addictive, and you're seeing more of this with the release of World of Warcraft. It's extremely popular, and they love to do pieces on people neglecting their social responsibilities and even their hygiene. But it also teaches people to moderate themselves, which is very important. And they're extreme. These are the examples that you hear on the news. They're extremes, and they're really rare, especially when you consider that millions of people play video games, and a very small percentage of that people actually get addicted to that. But you also have to consider, why are video games so addictive? And most people go, oh well, they're fun. But actually, Shel K. Olson, a researcher at Massachusetts General Hospital, found that challenging video games can create flow within the gamer. And flow is known to psychologists as a state of being pleasantly and completely absorbed by a goal-driven activity. Flow is what motivates gamers to become better, and in extreme cases can cause an obsession. And cause them to neglect their real lives and their responsibilities. But I'd also like to go into the misconception that playing video games is a waste of time. Through the use of creating flow, it's constantly driving gamers to improve themselves, and hand-eye coordination is drastically improved in people who play games, as well as delegation and management skills, as well as task completion skills. They're finding kids, who play World of Warcraft, who have the delegation, task completion, and management skills compared to most managements of businesses these days, because they've learned, and on a daily basis they organize groups of large people and delegate where they go and what's the best for this person, and lead these things. I'd like to give you a quote done. In a study done by the Office of Naval Research, they found that gamers perform 10% to 20% higher in terms of perceptual and cognitive ability than non-gamers. So even in cognitive ability, gaming at 10 to 20, that's huge. 10 to 20% on average is big just for playing games, and that's something that we tell our kids, oh, don't play too many games. So in conclusion, I'd like to go video games has received a lot of bad publicity for these misconceptions, and I hope that I've demonstrated for you today that they're true, but only extreme cases, and we shouldn't condemn video games just based off of these extreme cases. And I'd like to close with a quote from the Federation of American Scientists: "Children need to play more, not less video games."
By the way, I totally agree. I forgot where I heard it from, but it was like a 8 or 10-year-old kid was put in an F-18 flight simulator. Within an hour and a half, he was able to fly it and land it. And it was all because he was playing he was able to look at the hood on the simulator and see that, okay, this is my altimeter, this is my airspeed, this is my pitch, my yaw, and it was like, okay, it's freaking flight simulator like 95 or whatever. He was able to fly the thing. It was so sick. So, but I thought this speech was really good. It had a lot of information, especially about the research done that pretty much reinforced that it helps kids think more goal-oriented and allow them to kind of just, instead of thinking such short-term, like you said in World of Warcraft, where you actually have to plan and strategize and stuff like that. The only thing I thought is you could probably expand on those a little bit more. I think you were trying to do it, and you might have gotten lost and then tried to regroup. But I know that the information that you gave was solid, especially, and you seem really enthusiastic about it. That's another